Rndr is our favorite AI altcoin here on the channel that we did begin covering last year, and this project has been on fire, okay? It is up over 1,000% over the past year. It is officially now up 2,900% from its bear market bottom at 45 cents, currently sitting at $12.54. And it is now officially the largest AI altcoin by market cap, just surpassing BitTensor with a 4.6 billion market cap, as Rndr now has a market cap of 4.7 billion. And this price pump has also coincided with an explosion in the amount of participation on the Rndr network, as there were 1,400 nodes contributing to this network a couple of days ago, and that now sits at over 5,500, a change of basically 3,100 Rndr nodes overnight. So in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I'm going to break down exactly why I believe we saw this massive increase in participation and what I am looking for next when it comes to the price action. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. So we covered Rndr in yesterday's video, and I said it in this video, I'll say it again. It seems like every single time I cover this altcoin since we began covering it last year, it's basically just had a higher price every single time. I mean, you can see on the 1-year chart here, it has had some moments of consolidation, even some pretty decent pullbacks. In 2023, last year, it basically went from about 270 in April down to $1.35 by September, so about a 50% decline. And then from there, $1.35, this thing basically went up like 11x, 10x, currently sitting at $12.58. Officially up over 1,000% on the year. And I really do believe that a lot of the recent price action anyways has been in anticipation of the upcoming NVIDIA AI conference, which Jules Erbach, the CEO, is going to be speaking at. If you do want to learn more about that, we covered it in yesterday's video, and that's really what we have been citing as the big catalyst of growth for this altcoin over the past month. And even in the past month alone, it has clocked about 185% gains from $4.40, currently sitting at $12.60. But if we actually take a look underneath the surface and move away from the NVIDIA conference, there has been some very interesting things happening on chain. So this tweet was on March 7th, and as of March 6th, there were 1,402 Rndr nodes. Let me actually pull up the dashboard right here that shows the amount of nodes, the amount of Rndr token that has been burned. And I wish that I took a screenshot when it actually was at 1,402. I think I even seen it at like 1,391 about a week ago. And basically overnight, the amount of nodes shot up from 1,402 up to 5,586. Now, why did this happen? Okay, interestingly enough, we actually saw the Rndr network tweet, just got off a call with FedML AI, and super excited for our future. RNP007 is here for some light reading on what has been voted on. So who exactly is FedML? What is RNP007? We're going to break all that down for you guys in this video. So here is a tweet from alpha_please on Twitter. He says, some people might be unaware that Rndr Network has 4 AI compute clients as partners for GPU power: IO.net, BeamCloud, FedML AI, and Nosana. So the Rndr network will be servicing many different types of AI use cases, all these partners doing something unique and groundbreaking. For example, FedML is using a technique called federated learning. Federated learning is a machine learning approach that allows multiple parties to collaboratively train machine learning models on their local data without sharing the data itself. And both Intel and Microsoft contributed to the development of FedML. More AI jobs will continue to be added to Otoi's Octane workflow. Otoi, for those of you that don't know, is the parent company of Rndr. The demand for compute is going to rise exponentially over the coming years. Rndr has just entered price discovery, okay? So here is RNP007. And this is on Rndr's GitHub, okay? So they're basically breaking down exactly what this means. So FedML is a next-generation cloud platform that enables developers and enterprises to easily, economically, and securely build, deploy, and monetize their large language models and other generative AI applications. It provides holistic support with high-performance model training and deployment libraries and a large-scale GPU marketplace. FedML can now serve as a bridge between the AI community and Rndr's distributed GPU network. Collaboration between FedML and Rndr create two significant opportunities. So for starters, bringing AI community demand to Rndr's compute network. FedML's GPU marketplace can include Rndr, enabling AI developers to seamlessly access Rndr's powerful distributed GPU resources. This integration streamlines workflows, reduces development time, and accelerates AI projects. And second, empowering the AI community. FedML's community of researchers and data scientists focused on advancing a decentralized and trustworthy machine learning gain access to Rndr's distributed GPU network. This empowers them to develop and scale real-world generative AI applications such as secure crowdsourced LLM training and serving. LLM standing for large language models. They talk here about the motivation behind this partnership, and I'm not going to get into that. I just kind of want to break it down myself. So, when they're talking about Rndr's decentralized GPU platform, Rndr Network is a decentralized GPU Rndr platform that was actually initially meant for next generation 3D content creation. So effectively, what you would have is users who were looking to render spatial content, 3D content, who didn't have the GPU power to do so. They would tap into the Rndr network. And the Rndr network is basically people who are contributing their idle GPU compute, and then these artists are able to tap into the Rndr network, actually use this idle GPU power, and for the people that are loaning out their GPU compute, that idle GPU compute they would not otherwise be using, they are paid in Rndr tokens for contributing to the network. So what Rndr has actually done is they have moved away from only using this GPU compute for spatial content, for 3D rendering, and they have now moved in to allowing it to basically be used for machine learning tasks, which is a big necessity for AI. So here's an article from Van Eck, a big traditional finance player, basically talking about this sort of like this shift in focus for Rndr. So Rndr, who recently migrated to Solana, was initially focused on connecting artists to decentralized groups that would provide GPU power to render images and videos. However, Rndr has begun to focus its decentralized GPU fleet on satisfying machine learning workloads to support deep learning models. Through Network Improvement Proposal RNP004, Rndr now has an API to connect to external networks like IO.net that will utilize Rndr's network of GPUs for machine learning. And if we actually go back to GitHub here and then take a look at RNP004, there it is, compute clients. So this is when they basically first spoke about using their distributed marketplace for GPUs. And I have to say, I think they really did this at, basically like a perfect time, okay? They did this, I don't know when exactly this went live. Okay, so this actually went live 4 months ago. And, they kind of did this. So 4 months ago, that would put us back in December. And if you actually take a look at the price action over the past year, I mean, this token was already going up before then. However, you can see that is when this thing really started to take off. They did this at a time where AI has been pretty much the biggest narrative in the crypto market in general. And then on top of that, of course, you also have crypto taking off. Rndr sitting in the middle of both of these narratives. And yeah, you can kind of begin to see why this token has basically been up only for the past year, and more specifically over the past couple of months, right? Like even since December, if you want to make the case for that. It's basically tripled or almost quadrupled from those December prices. Now, to wrap things up, I do want to actually take a minute to discuss the price action because, I mean, we're pretty much in price discovery at this point, right? There's not any resistance overhead except for the most recent, local top that it put in at 1265 about an hour ago, as of the time of this recording anyways. And we actually have this circled here on the chart because this is what we were talking about. We were talking about Rndr. You know, we've been talking about it since last year. But again, we spoke about it here when it looked like it was about to break out at about $5.34. Now, the reason being, okay, I actually want to zoom in here and then take a look at this chart. And what you guys are going to notice, right, is that back here, this level actually did act as big resistance for Rndr. It broke above it here in the previous bull run. Let me actually get back to TradingView. Just backed me out by accident. That's okay. Nope, this is Bitcoin, which still wants to break those all-time highs. You know, Rndr is effectively up about 50% from those highs. But either way, I mean, you could just make the case that when Bitcoin breaks out, that's just more rocket fuel for Rndr. But anyways, you can see here that this was the 2021 peak. Okay, Rndr broke above that $5.30 area. It really only spent like a matter of 2 weeks above here. It wicked up to $8.70, got rejected, fell back down below that, you know, that $5.30 range, got rejected here multiple times, and then boom, it fell to those bear market lows at about 45 cents. Now, we noticed here back in December that Rndr was trying to break out above $5.30, got rejected, pulled it back to about $3.40, and then here it made a second retest and had a nice breakout above that level. Now, if you look in this box here, right, there's really not much resistance for this token at all between, you know, that $5.30 range and that previous all-time high. So I did say that, you know, if it broke out above that, I thought it would be a pretty quick move back up to all-time highs, as there was not a lot of prior price action to really go off of here. And yeah, that did end up being the case. I'm not saying that I always get things right, but that is a call that we made. It did in fact play out. And then when we were getting here, I basically said that if we break above that $8.70 all-time high, 880, let's call it, I mean, you're off to the races, right? You're in price discovery mode. AI is a hot narrative. A lot of eyes are on Rndr with the upcoming NVIDIA conference. And yeah, I mean, that kind of looks to be exactly how it's played out so far. Now, as for where it's going, honestly, guys, that's anyone's guess. We've never been here before. We are in uncharted territory when it comes to this coin. And I do believe that this move will continue into the NVIDIA conference. So to see something like $20, you know, $25, it would not shock me whatsoever. I'm not saying that it will happen, but I am saying that it could happen. We could also potentially even come back down to $8.80, have a big flush out, backtest the prior all-time high, shake out some weak hands who think that we're going to break down, and then continue on our way up. Generally speaking, backtests of previous all-time highs are bullish, but they do not always have to happen, okay? This thing can honestly just go up and not even come back down to retest that all-time high, at least not anytime soon. And I think a really good example of that is Inge, okay? If we take a look at Inge, we actually just take a look here and put that line. Yeah, so previous all-time highs for Inge came in at about 25 bucks. And you can see here, right, like once Inge kind of broke out of 25 bucks, it did not even look back. It's currently sitting at 40 bucks, has not come back to backtest that prior all-time high. So Rndr does not have to do that either, okay? And the other thing I do want to point out that I did discuss in yesterday's video is that Rndr is not only on an all-time high versus its USD pair, but also versus its Bitcoin pair, okay? So versus Bitcoin, Rndr's been in an uptrend versus BTC basically since the beginning of 2023. In fact, if we take a look here, I mean, Rndr's basically outperforming Bitcoin in this time period by about 685%. So yeah, I mean, this coin has been one of the few alts to continuously outperform Bitcoin. You can always nitpick which alts do and which don't. Most altcoins don't, and kind of like the biggest indicator of that would just be Bitcoin dominance, right? If Bitcoin dominance is going up as it has, that means majority of alts are underperforming Bitcoin. Rndr has not been one of them, and I do think that it is set to continue outperforming Bitcoin throughout the bull run. I am a big believer in bull runs that, you know, the early winners, the initial winners generally do tend to keep winning, and I do think that is the case for Rndr. So on that note, let me know in the comments down below what you think about Rndr. I hope you all enjoyed the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.